Have you ever watched your child in a school setting, maybe at a sports day, during a class presentation, or even just interacting in the playground, and felt that little pang in your chest? That moment when you see them hesitate, maybe shrink back a little, or hear them compare themselves unfavorably to another child? It's a deeply human experience, isn't it? This feeling of not quite measuring up, of seeing what someone else has or can do, and thinking, I wish I were like that. Or worse, I'm not good enough. And while we might intellectually understand that comparison is the thief of joy, seeing our children wrestle with low self-esteem, with a lack of confidence, especially when school becomes this unavoidable arena for comparison with peers, well, that's a whole different kind of ache. It can feel heartbreaking, frustrating, and leave us wondering, what can I do? This isn't about turning our children into arrogant, boastful kids who think they're better than everyone else. Not at all. It's about helping them build a quiet, steady inner strength, a belief in their own worth, their own unique capabilities, so that the inevitable comparisons don't chip away at who they are. It's about fostering resilience and a healthy self-regard that can weather the ups and downs of growing up in a world that constantly measures and ranks. We're not looking for quick fixes or magical solutions here. What we're going to explore together are some gentle, practical, and compassionate ways we as parents can understand why this happens, and more importantly, how we can actively nurture that inner confidence and self-esteem in our children, helping them stand a little taller, not just physically, but inside themselves, especially in that often challenging school environment. So let's lean in and talk about the first piece of this puzzle, a shift that might seem small, but has profound implications for how our children perceive themselves and their abilities when they look around at their classmates. You see, in so many aspects of school life, from tests and grades to sports and performances, the emphasis is naturally on outcomes. Did they get the right answer? Did they win the game? Did they get the lead role? And it's easy, so incredibly easy for both kids and us as their parents to get caught up in celebrating only the successes, the visible achievements. When we do that, when the focus is primarily on the A, the goal scored, the blue ribbon won, we inadvertently send a message. Your worth is tied to your results. Think about it. When a child brings home a perfect test paper, our immediate enthusiastic reaction is often, wow, you got an A, so smart. And that's a lovely moment, right? We should celebrate achievement. But if that's the only kind of praise they consistently hear, what happens when they bring home a test they failed, or a project they worked hard on but didn't get top marks for? They internalize that the outcome wasn't good enough. And by extension, they aren't good enough in that moment. They might start avoiding challenging tasks where failure is a possibility because the perceived cost to their self-worth feels too high. This is where our first big strategy comes in. And it's about gently but consistently shifting the focus from outcomes to effort, process, and learning. It's about helping our children understand that their value isn't in being the best, but in the willingness to try, to learn, to persist. How do we actually do this in the messy reality of daily life? Well, it starts with how we talk to them about their schoolwork, their activities, and their challenges. Instead of only saying, good job getting an A, try adding, good job getting an A. I saw how hard you studied for that test, staying focused even when it was tricky. Your hard work really paid off. Do you hear the difference? You're still celebrating the achievement, but you're highlighting the effort and process that led to it. And crucially, apply this to the non-perfect moments too. When they struggle with homework, instead of getting frustrated or just giving them the answer, say something like, wow, this seems really tough. I notice you're sticking with it though, trying different ways to figure it out. That persistence is amazing. Even if you don't get the answer right away, learning to keep trying is so valuable. You're validating the difficulty, but praising their effort and resilience. When they get a lower grade than expected, resist the urge to immediately criticize or express disappointment in them. Instead, approach it with curiosity and support. Okay, that grade wasn't what you were hoping for. Let's look at it together. What did you find most challenging about this? What did you learn from this experience? How can we approach studying for the next one differently? This reframes a setback not as a failure of them, but as a learning opportunity, a chance to understand the process better. It teaches them that effort and learning are more important than getting it perfect the first time. Think about your own reaction when they come home upset because someone else in class finished a task faster or their friend got a better score on a quiz. Our natural instinct might be to try and fix it or minimize it, but a more helpful response, rooted in this idea of valuing effort, is to validate their feeling first and then gently guide them towards their own process. It sounds really frustrating that Leo finished his math sheet so quickly when you were still working on yours. It's easy to feel like you're slow when that happens. But hey, I saw you really concentrating and double-checking your work. Your focus is incredible. Everyone works at their own pace, and what matters is your understanding the concepts and doing your best work. It also means celebrating the almosts and the tried hard. Maybe they practiced incredibly hard for a school play audition, but didn't get the part they wanted. Instead of just saying, "Oh well, better luck next time," acknowledge the effort. I know you're disappointed about not getting that role, and that's totally okay to feel sad about. You put so much energy into practicing, learning those lines, and projecting your voice. I am so incredibly proud of the effort and courage it took to even audition. That dedication will serve you so well in whatever you do. This reinforces that the trying is valuable, regardless of the outcome. This shift in focus, from outcome to effort, process, learning, and resilience, is foundational. It tells our children in myriad subtle and not so subtle ways that their value isn't dependent on being the best or being perfect or winning. It's about their character, their willingness to engage, to learn, to pick themselves up. This is the first step in building an internal sense of worth that is less susceptible to the external comparisons they encounter daily at school. Now, as we work on helping them value their effort and journey, another piece falls into place. School, by its nature, tends to measure a specific set of skills: academics, maybe some sports, sometimes arts. But our children are so much more than their performance in these limited areas. Their talents, interests, and strengths are vast and varied, and often, the things that make them feel truly competent and confident lie outside the standard school curriculum. This brings us to our second key strategy: helping them discover and cultivate their unique strengths and interests outside of traditional school measurements. Think of it as building pillars of confidence that stand firm, even if the school pillars feel a bit shaky sometimes. When a child struggles academically, for instance, or feels awkward in gym class, they might start to feel like they're just not good at anything. But that's rarely true. They might be incredibly kind, a fantastic listener, a creative storyteller, brilliant at building things with their hands, have a natural affinity for animals, be great at solving riddles, or have a wonderful sense of humor. These are all valuable strengths. The problem is, school doesn't typically give gold stars for being a great friend or for building the most imaginative fort in the backyard. Our role, then, is to be the archaeologists of our children's potential and the champions of their unique spark. Pay close attention to what lights them up. What do they gravitate towards when they have free time? What do they talk about with excitement? What activities make them lose track of time? Once you spot a potential interest or a budding strength, provide opportunities for them to explore it without pressure. If they love drawing, make sure there are always paper and pencils available. Maybe get some different art supplies. Visit an art museum or find a low-key art class or online tutorial. If they love animals, volunteer at a local shelter together. Read books about animals, watch documentaries. If they enjoy building, get them building kits, visit construction sites safely, or work on simple DIY projects together. The key is exploration and nurturing. It's not about forcing them to become a prodigy in some field, but about giving them the chance to experience the feeling of competence and mastery that comes from engaging with something they genuinely enjoy and are good at. When they spend time doing something they love and see themselves improve through their effort and practice in that area, it builds a deep, authentic sense of confidence. They start to think, maybe I'm not the best at math, but wow, I can really make wood scraps turn into a cool birdhouse. Or social studies is hard for me, but I feel so alive when I'm helping out at the animal shelter. I'm good with these animals. These experiences provide tangible evidence of their capabilities that aren't tied to a school grade or a ranking against peers in a classroom subject. It helps them see themselves as multidimensional beings with value and skills that extend far beyond the school walls. Let me share a little story that might resonate. I remember a friend whose son, let's call him Alex, really struggled with reading in elementary school. He was in a reading support program, and you could see it affecting his confidence. He started withdrawing, not wanting to go to school, feeling dumb, because reading felt so hard when it seemed easy for other kids. His mom noticed that Alex loved taking things apart and figuring out how they worked. Old clocks, broken electronics, he was fascinated. Instead of pushing more and more reading tutors on him initially, his mom started buying him simple mechanical kits. They watched YouTube videos together about how things worked, pausing and rereading instructions slowly. They visited a science museum with interactive exhibits about mechanics. Slowly, Alex started spending hours happily tinkering. He would explain to his mom how a gear worked or how electricity flowed in a simple circuit. He developed a real sense of pride and competence in this area. He was good at it. Did it magically fix his reading struggles overnight? No. But it gave him a place where he felt smart, capable, and confident. It was a source of positive self-regard that helped buffer the negative feelings he had about reading. Over time, as his confidence grew from his tinkering, he actually became more willing to tackle his reading challenges because he knew he wasn't dumb. He just hadn't mastered reading yet. So, actively seeking out and nurturing these non-academic strengths and interests is absolutely vital. It provides our children with alternative sources of validation and competence that are less likely to be directly compared to their peers in the competitive school environment. It helps them build a more rounded, go-bust sense of self-worth. Now, even as we help them build confidence through effort and exploring their unique strengths, they are still going to encounter situations where they compare themselves to others and feel inadequate. It's a natural, albeit often painful, part of the human experience. So our next strategy is helping them navigate the tricky waters of comparison itself and teaching them the incredibly powerful skill of self-compassion. Comparison is almost unavoidable at school. There's always someone who seems smarter, faster, more popular, better at drawing, more confident speaking up in class. And for children who are already feeling a bit fragile inside, these comparisons can feel like confirmation of their worst fears about themselves, that they aren't good enough. We can't shield them from seeing that others have different strengths or achievements, but we can equip them with the tools to process those comparisons in a way that doesn't devastate their self-esteem. This starts with talking about comparison openly and honestly. When your child says, "Sophie is so much better at math than me," or "everyone else in my class is so much cooler," instead of dismissing it, validate the feeling. It sounds like you're feeling a bit discouraged, when you compare yourself to Sophie in math class. It's tough when you feel like someone else is doing better. Then, gently introduce some perspective. You know, everyone has different things they're good at and things they struggle with. Sophie might find math easier, but maybe you have a knack for writing stories, or you're incredibly kind to your friends. We don't have to be good at everything, and we certainly don't have to be good at everything at the same time as everyone else. This is also where we can talk about the highlight reel phenomenon, even with younger kids, in simple terms. Explain that we usually only see the outside of what others show us, their successes, their achievements, the things they are confident about. We don't see the hours they struggled to understand something, the times they failed, the insecurities they might have about other things. It might look like Emily is effortlessly good at soccer, but you don't see all the extra practice she puts in, or maybe she struggles with public speaking and feels shy about that. Everyone has their own challenges, and this leads us to the profound importance of teaching self-compassion. This isn't about making excuses or feeling sorry for yourself. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend who is struggling. How do we teach this? We model it, and we explicitly guide them. When your child makes a mistake, big or small, and gets upset with themselves, saying things like, "I'm so stupid," or "I always mess up," gently intervene. Hey, whoa, if your friend made a mistake like that, would you call them stupid? No, you wouldn't. You'd probably say, "It's okay, everyone makes mistakes," or "Don't worry about it, you'll get it next time." Can you try talking to yourself like you would talk to your friend? Help them develop a few simple, compassionate phrases they can use internally. "It's okay, I'm learning. That didn't work, but I can try again. I'm doing my best, and that's enough." Encourage them to notice their harsh self-talk without judgment, just acknowledging it and then choosing a kinder response. You can share moments when you felt inadequate or compared yourself negatively to others, and how you consciously chose to be kinder to yourself. You know, sometimes when I see how organized another parent is, I feel like I'm not doing a good job, but then I remind myself that I'm doing my best, juggling a lot, and my way works for our family. I wouldn't be so hard on a friend, so I try not to be so hard on myself. Sharing your own vulnerability and strategies makes it real and permission-giving for them. Practicing self-compassion helps our children soften the blow of comparison, instead of internalizing perceived differences as personal failings. They are better than me, so I am not enough. They can learn to observe differences without harsh self-judgment. They are good at that, and I am learning good at something else. It's okay to be where I am. This builds resilience against the inevitable social and academic pressures of school. And underpinning all of these strategies, fostering effort over outcome, cultivating unique strengths, and teaching self-compassion is the absolute bedrock of connection and communication. Our children need to feel seen, heard, and loved unconditionally, especially when they are struggling with their self-worth. Creating a safe space where they can express their fears, frustrations, and insecurities without judgment is paramount. This isn't just about having the talk. It's about weaving open communication into the fabric of daily life. It's the casual chats in the car, the moments while making dinner together, the quiet time before bed. These are opportunities to check in, to listen, and to connect. The key here is active, empathetic listening. When your child comes to you with a problem, big or small, school-related or otherwise, your initial response is crucial. Resist the urge to immediately jump in with solutions, platitudes, or minimizing their feelings. Phrases like, "Oh, don't worry about it," or "It's not a big deal," or "Just do XYZ," can, often unintentionally, shut down communication because the child feels like their feelings aren't being taken seriously. Instead, start by simply listening and validating. It sounds like you had a really tough day today. You seem upset about what happened at recess. Tell me more about why that grade felt so disappointing. Use reflective listening. Repeat back what you heard in your own words to ensure you understand and to show them you're paying attention. So it sounds like you felt embarrassed when you didn't know the answer in front of the class, and that made you feel like you weren't as smart as the other kids. Is that right? Validation doesn't mean you necessarily agree with their perspective or that their feeling is the objective truth of the situation. It means you acknowledge and accept that they feel that way. It makes sense that you feel frustrated when the project isn't turning out how you wanted. I understand why you'd feel left out when your friends made plans without you. Once they feel truly heard and understood, they are much more receptive to guidance or problem solving, if they even need it at that moment. Sometimes, just being able to articulate the feeling and have it received with empathy is enough to dissipate some of its power. Creating this safe space also means being mindful of our own reactions to their school struggles. If we get overly anxious, angry, or disappointed when they bring home bad news, a low grade, a difficult social interaction, they will quickly learn to hide things from us to avoid causing that reaction or experiencing our disappointment. Try to regulate your own emotions first, so you can respond to their struggle with calm support. Sharing your own relatable feelings briefly, so the focus remains on them, can also deepen the connection. Yeah, feeling left out is really hard. I remember a time in middle school when I felt the exact same way. It really stings. This shows them they aren't alone in their feelings and that you can relate. This foundation of open communication and unconditional support is the fertile ground in which confidence and self-esteem can truly flourish. When a child knows that they are loved and accepted exactly as they are, regardless of their performance or how they measure up against others, they have a secure base from which to face the challenges of school and life. They know they can stumble, they can feel unsure, they can make mistakes, and you will still be there, ready to listen and help them find their footing again. So we've talked about shifting focus from outcome to effort, helping them find competence in their unique strengths, teaching them kindness towards themselves when comparison bites, and building a safe haven through listening and connection. None of these are overnight fixes. They are ongoing practices, woven into the everyday moments of family life. This journey of parenting and helping our children navigate the complex emotional landscape of growing up, particularly in places like school where comparison is so prevalent, isn't a sprint. It's a marathon, filled with small steps forward, occasional stumbles, and moments of breathtaking joy. There will be days when your child seems to take 2 steps back, days when your efforts feel unseen, and days when you question if you are doing anything right at all. But please know this. The very fact that you are here, thinking about this, caring deeply enough to want to help your child build inner strength, is a testament to the incredible parent you are. Your love, your presence, your willingness to understand and adapt, these are the most powerful tools you possess. You are not expected to be perfect, and your child is not expected to be perfectly confident all the time. Life is messy, and growth happens in fits and starts. Focus on the small, consistent efforts, the kind word when they're down, the shared laugh over a mistake, the quiet time spent doing something they love, the moments you simply listen without trying to fix. These moments, stacked one on top of another, are what build a foundation of self-worth that is resilient and true. You are not alone in facing these challenges. So many of us are walking this path alongside you, doing our best, learning as we go. If any of this resonated with you today, if you feel like you're on this journey too, wrestling with these same questions and hoping to help your child feel strong and capable inside, maybe take a moment and hit that like button. It helps this conversation reach other parents who might need to hear it. And if you want to keep exploring these messy, beautiful, challenging, and incredibly rewarding parts of family life together, if you want to be part of a community that's learning and growing alongside each other, consider subscribing to the Family Connection Hub. We're here, holding space, sharing ideas, and reminding each other that we've got this, one connected moment at a time. Thank you for being here,